Today on the workbench I've got a new project. This is a Bachmann DCC on board. It's an RS3. What we're going to be putting in this today, we've got a TCS wow speaker. It's a 16 by 35 speaker. I've got a decoder buddy that I'm going to put in this. And we're going to use a ESU Loksound V5, and we'll put the new, let's see, I believe it's a Alco 241 or 244, one of the two, I can't remember now, but I've got the file loaded on my computer, so we'll jump right into this thing and see what we can do. So I don't think I'm going to be upgrading any of the lights. This isn't mine. This is a gentleman that belongs to the club. So we'll pull off, the first thing we'll do is we'll pull off our, where our couplers are. Pull the screws out. That out of there, that falls out, the one out of the back. Of course, that's got the old plastic couplers in there. I may upgrade those to KDs for him. And let's see, I'll probably have to pull this screw out of the fuel tank. So this is, it does have DCC in it. So let me pull these. I don't know if these two screws just hold the motor in. They may. That holds the body on. So that's everything to get all that off. And I'll clean up the, you can see the oil there on that. So we'll start by pulling out this decoder. Of course, it's got a plug, but I'm going to change all of that. And I said that was oil. I don't think that's oil. That's the tape. Might be the tape breaking down. So that's all kind of sticky. If I can get my tool under there. There, I think I got it. Okay. So there's that. Still a good decoder. I'll set that up there. I'll clean that all up with some alcohol. Take and put all of my screws and little parts here. In the fuel tank. So I think my decoder buddy will sit right on top of that, and our speaker will go back here in the back. I do want to leave those lights, or reuse the lights. So I'm going to have to clean that thing off. It's sticky from that tape. getting it all over my fingers every time I touch something. Just using some alcohol on that. There you can see that's still kind of sticky. So that'll help it some. That'll get rid of, it's still a little on the sticky side. So now, let's do a little bit of thinking here. All right, let's start removing this, removing what we need to here. First we'll pull off our, this is a track pickup. And here's the other side. And get on there. Zoom down just a touch. Those are our left, or our right, I mean. There's our left. Turn my soldering iron on. Then we got more track pickups. Left and right. Throw those away while I'm looking at them. I'll have to pull those two wires off there for that rear light. And then these are the motor pickups. Motor pickup. Can't hold on to anything. And those aren't motor pickups, those are for the light. I don't know why I thought that was a motor pickup. Let's just keep this simple. There. Here's my motor. And I solder everything back on. I'm not going to reuse those clips. And let's see now. Now we can pull off this board. And I might be able to put, I'm going to try the Decoder Buddy, the original version, but I may be able to put in one of the Decoder Buddy Tinies. I've got a bunch of those. So there's our other track pickups. Let me cut off these See, that's our light. I wouldn't have to cut them because they're not soldered, but so orange is positive there, and our brown or gray, I think it's brown, that's the negative. So that's that out of the way. What did I do? Oh, here it is. So this is the original Decoder Buddy. And I can use one screw right there, and that's all I can get. Let me get one of the, since we're not doing anything with lights, let me get one of my minis. So I'll be back here in a second. Okay, went and found a Decoder Buddy Mini. And I've got the same thing there. Actually, what I think I can do, move these up a little bit. I could probably get some longer screws for right here, and I could use that, or I could use this mount up here, and yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll use this one screw hole back here, and I'll show you this here in a second when I get this down. Okay, so I've got that mounted right there, but I want at least two in it, so I'm going to take and mark this hole up here, and I'll probably do this one too, but I'll drill and tap those. Let me see something here a second. Yeah, I'm going to drill and tap these two up here, and I could do it back here also. But what I want to do, after I get them drilled and tapped, then I'll take a piece of styrene, and let me measure this. And let's see. I'll have to do this off camera so I can. That says it's 87 thousandths. And you can see what I'm doing right here. This is the post where I put the screw in. And then, so about, well, let's see, 90 thousandths, give or take. Doesn't have to be that accurate, but we'll make some 90 thousandths shims out of some styrene. So that'll be our first step in this process. I'm going to put this little screw back up front here so I don't lose it. And I'll probably tap that to a 256. So that'll just make it easier on me. I won't have to use an oddball screw. So let me find the screw that I'm going to use and I'll show you. Nope, it's a 172. Yeah, it's a 172. I get these from Micro Fasteners. So that's a 3/8. What else do I have? I've got some 3/4, 172, a quarter. Yeah, 172 quarters will work better for that. That way they won't be so long. So we've got that. Put those away. Now I'll get out my 172 tap and drill. Okay. So there's the tap. There's the drill. That's a number 53. A number 53 bit. Let me make sure that's right. I'll measure that up. That's 60 thousandths. I'll get out my little Starrett card here. A number 53 is 59.5. So that's the right bit. So now, get out my little drill pin vise. Chuck that up. All right. Now we can start some drilling. Let me back that out. I want to keep this thing straight. That marked that. I think I got a good mark there. 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 And there. Okay. Now, we'll pull the board back off. Move that. And I'm going to pull this off because I don't want to drill that with the everything there. So that screw releases that front truck. If I pick it up, the front truck will drop off now. But I just want to remove this weight. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah. For some reason, I thought I was doing the back. I turned the locomotive around. All right. So let me get that out of the way. And I've got my holes marked. So I am going to have to drill this off camera. But that's the process I go through to mark that. So I'll be back here in a second. All right. I've got the holes drilled and tapped. Let me zoom in a little bit here and see if you can see this. I've got the holes drilled and tapped, and what I did for the styrene underneath there, I had some tubing, and I cut pieces of tubing that were 90 thousandths thick, stuck under each corner. It's a 172 screw, and the heads on these screws are fairly large, so I had to take and, I don't know if you can catch that or not, but I've had to flatten off one side of them so they wouldn't hit the pads. So now what I need to do is take this back off so I can bolt the weight back down. So we'll get that. And I don't know if you can see that screw as it's moving around there, but I did flatten off part of it. While I have them off, I may flatten them just a touch more. But you can see there's the little pieces of styrene that I used. There's that and that. And now I've got this one up here in this front corner to pull out. So I'm going to zoom back. Oh, wrong way. So we'll zoom out. Now actually, I won't need to take that all the way off, because I can just do it right there. What I need to do. All right. Put our track pickup wires back up through. That. Yep. Get everything all started here again. And I know you probably get tired of looking at the top of my hand there. So I'll pull it over sideways. Put that back on. There's our front weight. And then here's the screw for the truck. Now this one's going to take a little finagling. It's right there. Okay. So there's that. Keep sticking this stuff here on my... All right. Now, Where's I put them wires back up through? I'm going to change that. Yeah. Because they come up here. So I may take that weight back off and drill a couple more holes. I never even thought about it while I had it off. Alright, well, back to the old drawing board. I'm going to pull, I'll pull the Decoder Buddy back off, and then I'm going to drill a couple of holes up here for the truck or front pickups to come up through. Alright, as you can see, I've got, I drilled 2 new holes up here in the front for the track pickup so I can connect them in. I've got this mounted down, and like I say, I used some styrene and it's tubing. Put it on there with. So now that board is solid in there. It's got 4 mounts. I took, and since the heads were so big on the screws, let me see if I can, I don't know how well you'll be able to see that. You really can't. I have a flat on each one of the screws so it won't touch the solder pads, front and rear there. So that takes care of that. So we've got our board mounted. And now we've got everything back on. We're ready to start our process of soldering our wires back on. I need to take these 2 capacitors off. Let me see. So they put that tape on there. So I'll just cut that through. I can just take it and snip off the capacitor. And those are for noise, is what they are, or interference. So just pull both of those off. Don't have to worry about them. And then we'll put that back up there, and that back up there. And that's not a black tape. It looks like black tape, but it's a Kapton tape that's just colored black. So we've got that. We're ready to start our wiring process. I'm going to have to lengthen my motor leads. They're not long enough, so I'll end up pulling those around. Let me turn my soldering iron back on. The front leads will go right in. And I'm going to, well, I'm not going to trim that off. That'll give me a little excess wire. Well, maybe I better trim it off. Yeah. The black one for the track pickup I'm going to trim them all off. That way I won't have to deal with as much wire. That off a little more. Oop. Straighten that out. Those will go in there. I can reuse this original light. That'll have to have a capacitor put on it, but these Decoder Buddy Tinies, they come with some resistors, and they're 2200 ohm resistors. And if you have something special, you can email Nick's Trains, and he'll fix you up with whatever resistors you want. So let's see. Ready there, ready there. Get out some flux. Throw my scraps over out of the way. Oop. And as well, use some of the extra that I flooded that with. Move some stuff around. We'll start our soldering process, which you've seen more than once on this channel. So there's our rear pickups. And now we'll come up front. Get that on there. As well solder them all, or touch them all while I'm there, which I didn't do on the back, but yeah, sometimes I'm forgetful. Those are already tinned, it looks like. Yeah, I didn't strip them or anything. So they should be good to go. So let's see. If I can get this twisted around here. There's one. I got that one. I want to pull my magnifier down and check. Make sure we're not hitting anything. So we're good to go there. Now I need to extend my motor wires. I can hook this light up. Well, maybe I better do these motor wires. A little flux on that. So now I need to get some wire, so I'll be back in a second. Alright, I've come back. I've got a couple pieces of wire here. Got our orange and our gray. I'll strip that off just a little bit. Little flux there. Tin that up. Turn this thing around so I can there's that. Now we'll go down and do they've got a brown one on here. It should be gray. And something to hold that up so I can still see. There's that. Get my gray wire out. head off just a little bit. Then we'll get some flux. We'll tin that up. So we've got our two motor wires on. Put that back in there. So there's that. Now, we've got our motor. So M1 right here. That should be our positive. So that'll be our orange. I'm going to run this wire underneath the board. And then I'll be able to trim that off. And then we'll flux it up. So there's that. A little flux up here on the board. Clean that tip off. And we've got that. So that's our positive side. Take and feed our gray wire through. Put that off. Then we'll repeat the process. Some flux on it. The wire tinned up. There's our motor wires. Tuck that back under. All right, so right there, I could take and put the decoder in and we could test it, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hook the lights up. And I'm gonna, like I say, I'm going to reuse the ones that are here, and I'm going to throw a couple of these 2200 ohm resistors in line. The first thing I'll have to do is I'm going to trim these off. So we'll get that trimmed off. And then I solder these up. Or, yeah, I'll tin them. And then solder them to the board and to the wire. So that's tinned up. I'm going to take and we'll put that on our common, which will be this red wire. And I need a couple pieces of heat shrink. Okay, there's that. So we've got that. Oh, get this out of the way. And I put flux on these in the beginning. So this will be our common side. And that'll be our negative side. So I'll go ahead and stick that on. We'll strip this one. A little bit of flux. Tin that. And that is just barely long enough. actually, it's not long enough. I thought it would be, but I can't stretch it that far. It's pretty close. I may have to change that. It is right on the edge. But let me run this piece of heat shrink up here. I won't have to worry about that. Our heat shrink on. So now we've got our front headlight here. We'll go ahead and strip that off. And this is all just the same process repeated. So there's that wire. We'll do our resistor again. Trim that up. So there's that. What happened to my light? There it is. Need to get this front flux on that. Better get a piece of heat shrink there, put in there. So there's that. Get out of the way. Move this around. I didn't think that was on there very well. I don't know if you saw that or not, but this track lead just popped off. Okay. I may have to finagle that some way better. A little close, but okay. Now we've got that hooked up. Let me get my decoder out. And we'll put the decoder on it. I'm not going to hook the speaker up yet. But I'll hook the decoder up. There's our decoder. And I pull these factory wires off. As I solder my own to the Decoder Buddy. And let's do it the simple way. Alright, so I'm going to try this out. I'll put this on here real quick. And then, let's see, that goes up like that. I'm going to take and test it out. And then I'll be back here in a second. Alright, I tested this thing out. And it does run. Of course, I don't have a speaker in it yet, but it does run. And I forgot, they run these things long hood forward. So I've got my two motor wires backwards. So I'm going to change them. Right now I've got the decoder on my low programmer, and so I'm programming that up. That's why the decoder's off of it. But we've got to put the speaker in. So I've got that right here, and then that's it. So let's get in here and I'll pull these wires out. That way we'll be able to take that apart. Luckily, those are long enough. And there's one. And yeah, I could have changed the programming on that to where it would run right and I wouldn't have had to move the wires. But I'd rather just have it wired up correctly. That way we don't have to fool with it if there's ever a problem. So there's that. Now I'm going to take and I've got to remove this little nub right here. So I'll do that with a, I've got a jeweler's saw that I can cut that off with. So we'll slide that. Yep. Sometimes it seems like I need about 4 hands. So there's that. We'll get our wires out of the way. And then I can saw that off. And I hope I don't break this blade because it's the only one that I have. This may take a few minutes because I want to go rather slow. And I know that's going out of frame a little bit. Okay. Pull that off of there. Put my blade back in the saw. And now, just to kind of clean that up a little bit, take a piece of tape and that gets rid of about all those shavings. So that's that. All right, so there we are with that. Now before we go any farther there, I want to take, that speaker will sit, I'm going to set it right in there. But I'm going to clean this thing off with some alcohol because I'll put it down with double-sided tape. So that way everything will be oil-free. Okay, so I won't have to remember to do that now. I do need to put my light back in here. I'm going to have to lengthen that black wire on that. That's just all there is to that. I was hoping I could get away without doing that, but it's just not going to work. So instead of playing around, piece of heat shrink. And I've got my black wire right here. I'm not going to put in maybe but a 3/8 of an inch or so, but still. It needs done. And then I'll have to solder up the wires for the speaker. At least this way I have plenty of room to get it out of the way. Get the wire out of the way. So there's that. Break out this, my third hand. So there's that. We'll put our shrink wrap on. There's that. So now we put that in. Now that thing fits nice. That turned around. And plenty of room for that speaker to sit right there. But first, I've got wire to solder to that. I'll get that out of the way. See if this will be long enough for both. Yeah, just barely. So we'll just cut another piece of wire. Wire's cheap. should have done this yesterday. That way, all of this would have been sealed. So there's one. Another piece. There's that. Can't get my throat clear today. So now we'll take these. This has a hole in the bottom. We'll feed our wires through. That case is just a little on the deformed side. Super tight. That is tight. Not going to have to seal that thing. I don't know. Well, I think we're good there. I'm going to mount the thing, and before I close it up, I'll seal that up. I'll put some plastruct around it and seal that in. But I'm going to put that down with double-sided tape. Looks like the program is almost finished downloading. Put this on here first. I don't want to cover up that screw because that is for the rear truck. Get that off of there. And then I want to take a little bit of alcohol, put on the back of the speaker to clean it up a little bit. Okay, there's that. Now, I'm going to move my little pad here. Get my red wire out of the way. Try and get that centered up. So there's our speaker, and they come up here to mount to the board. Get these wires tucked in. Probably want to put a piece of Kapton tape across that. Keep all that in place. So I'll get a piece of Kapton tape now. There's our wire management. That needs to come across there. So we've got our speaker in. Program hasn't finished loading yet. And now I need to hook the speaker wire up. So we'll run that under, just like everything else. Of course, it went on that side. Put another piece of tape across that. Everything is tucked in nice and neat. And now cut off my excess. So there's our excess cut off. Strip the ends. Now we're ready for, and I'll go back over this with, clean the flux off once we get done. So there's that. Okay, so there's all of our connections. We'll get these tucked in. All right, now a little bit of alcohol. So there's everything cleaned up, wired up, cleaned up, ready to go. All I gotta do is put the decoder on it. I've got to wait for the program to load up, but it's almost there. So zoom back out here, pull that back in the frame. So that's our finished product, less the decoder. Oh, it's done. So let me get it off of the programmer. I'll put it on, plug it in, and I'll change views on you. I'll be back. Alright, so I've got it there up on the test stand, and let's fire this thing off. So we've got sound. I don't think you can see. You can see the headlight up there come on. So we'll crank it up there a little ways, and it'll sound better with the body on it. But for right now, I think we've had success. So I'm going to slow that down. Actually, I'm going to stop it. But you hear the bell. Here I've started it through the shutdown sequence. So what I'm going to do now is I'll take and put the body on it, and then we'll see what a difference that makes. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, we've got our RS3 up on the test stands, and we're going to fire this thing up. Get it moving there. Kind of go through some of the speed steps. That has a pretty good sound to it. We'll start ramping it back down. I say it does have a lot of momentum built into it. Of course, I didn't upgrade any of the lights in this. It's all the original lights. So I think this is another completed project. So we'll shut it down. We can go through that sequence. Headlight off. All right, there's another one done. Thanks for watching.